The sweet moment of roping your friend's circle into a game on Steam that you'll only play a couple of hours and shelve. It's a reflective scenario that almost everyone has experienced at least once in their lives. However, despite running into that myself, it is also completely understandable if you or anyone with you is looking to dabble or rather invest in a prolonged game together, where you can spend countless hours just grinding to compete against each other or have a leisurely time as you gossip about your daily lives. And that's exactly why I've taken the task of showcasing to you my picks for co-op games that are longer than 100 hours. Rest assured, you'll want to come in prepared to spend time making these games feel worthwhile with your squad or partner in tow. There wasn't a better way to kick this off than to mention the obvious goated co-op safe space title that stands the test of time to this day, Minecraft. With countless releases and near infinite modding/pack support from the community, it's a no-brainer game that always comes to mind for many, offering nonsensical or laid-back fun with their friends or family. It may take a bit of legwork, but having the patience and commitment to create a private server that you manage daily with your group is easily the best time investment ever, especially if you take it from someone like me who dabbled in playing Minecraft for a full year with his buddies during lockdown periods and COVID. It was a glorious time, albeit brief and bleak. I'll never hesitate to let anyone know of my guilty pleasure for GTA Online ever since my teenage days. It was the game that had introduced me to my lifelong best friend. But even more so, the height of the fun it delivered was getting a full group together with him and our other friends for custom versus modes or stout races. Not a fan of that? Well, if you and your friends want to get rich quickly, you could also tag team the CEO business to generate a passive income as long as you start small and invest big. It's understandable that in the 2026, no one would dare dabble in GTA 5's online scene, especially with how utterly toxic some of the lobbies are. But as a co-op game to dive in with your friends, it is by far one of the best ones that can deliver high-octane fun if you know what to play and choose. It's got enough to do that you won't even realize that you're spending 100 hours in it. Apart from being one of the greatest comebacks in the video game industry, No Man's Sky from Hello Games is the prime example of a co-op game similar in nature to Minecraft. It combines scale, freedom, and constant progression in a shared sandbox that never really ends. You and your buddy can explore the same procedurally generated universe at your own behest, soar through the galaxy and explore each planet together, or split up to maximize research and resource production. And with the amount of content that's currently available with the numerous free updates that the game's received, you're never running out of things to do anytime soon. Just be warned that the game takes some time to take flight, as with all survival base building management titles. But once you get the ball rolling, you'll be introduced to a countless array of systems in-game that'll have you and your friends wanting more from your discoveries/expeditions together. Despite the highs and lows the franchise has seen, and the worryingly high amount of playtime I've amassed on it since the first game in 2014, it is hard to argue against the camaraderie and cooperative foundation of Destiny 2. Bungie's done some questionable feats throughout the game's lifecycle, but they've also made certified banger decisions that kept me engaged and invested right until the closing act of the Light vs. Darkness saga. And oh man, what a moment it was to see it all come to a curtain call with my closest friends by my side, knowing the memories we've amassed over the past decade playing it. The gunplay model always felt satisfying, with each of the three classes having their own playstyle, and the way you'd always find something to just grind with your friends, whether it be running a raid with a couple of randoms or a crucible match. It never felt boring, at least until you achieved your daily milestone limit. With how it continues to feel like an evolving universe every single year via major updates, Warframe is a game that embodies cooperative play at the heart of the whole experience.
Sure, the main goal of any veteran or even newbie would be to grind and deck out their Tenno in the most eye-catching sci-fi fashion ever, but it's easy to forget how welcoming and accessible the core game feels now, thanks to Rebecca Ford and the rest of the visionary team at Digital Extremes. Although you'll be more than capable of farming at high speeds on your own at your leisurely time, the high-stakes endgame progression is where your four-player synergy really makes you test yourself under the Nightmare and Steel Path difficulty modifiers.
When you truly get to the thick of its content, only then do you begin to realize how Payday 2 is one of those rare co-op games that doesn't just support 100 plus hours, it's practically built around long-term investment and replay value. There are several, and I mean several, heists that can interchange at almost every run, from randomized objectives, vault locations, and enemy NPC placements. Even if you master the same heist with your squad or partner, you'll never play it the same way twice, I can guarantee you that. And with how you've got 4 distinctive classes, each with their own skills that encourage role picking for the optimal job, you've got a ton of value here, especially with those dozens of DLCs. They're not required, but if you manage to master the base game heists and get your fill out of them, they're your next big score to chase.
By this point, you must have seen or heard of the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy XIV having a free trial that lets you play the base game along with its 2 spectacular expansions for free, right? No time limit or cost. Sarcasm aside, I can attest to that statement myself, having played both A Realm Reborn and Heavensward's MSQs in their entirety. If you could rope in a friend or 2 to join you for the full game experience, you're looking at one of the best time-sinking MMOs on the market. The community is insanely welcoming to newcomers, as long as you're willing to take the leap and reach out to them in the first place. And the investment is worth it in the long run if you get past the slog that is ARR. Even a couple of my veteran friends who helped me learn the ropes on my journey can easily attest to the fact that the expansions of this game have the best raid boss fights ever and a fantastic storytelling direction that paves the way for an epic conclusion for the Hydaelyn and Zodiark saga and the Endwalker expansion. Why not mention the recently released 4th entry instead, you say? As a longtime player of the series who absolutely adores the second game, as well as has sunk enough time now with the current 4th title, hear me out on why Borderlands 3 is worth it for the overall time investment. Having recently wrapped up my 3rd playthrough as Sane with my buddy, Borderlands 3 just has the best of both worlds. The storytelling butchers a lot of things, sure, and the Calypso twins are possibly the most annoying villains, but try to endure it. Trust me here. The gunplay and mechanics on display are a massive step up from the second game, and the 4 DLCs in the first season pass all, unironically, have better written stories than the vanilla campaign to some extent. The humor won't be to everyone's liking, obviously, but with how much time I've poured into this series with my friends, it is easily a strong candidate for a game that you'll lose yourself over for at least 100 hours if you min-max almost everything, from your Vault Hunter builds to finishing each major story DLC. Sure, Baldur's Gate 3 on its own is just as engaging and riveting to play, but what if you had a friend at your side? What if you only had to worry about controlling or managing a couple of characters or just yourself in a campaign, similar to actual D&D? That's exactly what Baldur's Gate 3's co-op mode offers, a brilliantly integrated 4-player online mode as well as a split-screen duos mode that is perfect for those looking to get the relationship goals in gaming off their bucket list. There are a couple of minor limitations, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll still get to take part in major choices and conversations pretty easily, and for most combat scenarios, you can literally plan out and strategize them like an actual D&D encounter. It's a glorious and eventful journey, whether it be with your friends or a special someone. From the moment I was introduced to this series in 2018 on my PS4, to my pickup of the PC version to play with all of my friends later on, I can rightfully say that Monster Hunter World became the top video game I've sunk more than 100 hours into, with no regrets at all. The game just has the perfect quality to satisfy all those bang-for-your-buck accusations that many may presume when dabbling in this daunting franchise for the first time. This series has always encouraged jolly cooperation with other players as you hunt down monsters together and loot their corpses for parts. With those parts, craft that ideal-looking armor set you've been craving, or run some other hunts back if one of your friends has horrible RNG for those rare drops. The options are endless, and who knows, one of you might carry the other with their great sword mastery. The base game has a ton of content, including the individual low and high rank progression states. And with the mandatory Iceborne expansion, you can enhance the experience with a whole new set of monsters to hunt on the master rank difficulty, with some truly unforgiving ones that really test your guts, like Elatrion and Fatalis. If you're looking for a co-op game that doesn't just last long, but actually earns its playtime, Enshrouded is a perfect pick. Set in a massive fantasy world covered by deadly fog, this survival RPG lets up to 16 players build, explore, and fight together. And trust me, 100 hours is just the beginning. What makes Enshrouded special is how deep everything goes. You're not just surviving, you're building entire bases, crafting advanced gear, unlocking skill trees, and slowly reclaiming the world from the Shroud. Exploration alone can eat up dozens of hours, especially when you start diving into dungeons and hidden areas as a team. Combat feels solid, progression is addictive, and co-op makes every moment better, whether you're planning builds, boss fights, or massive constructions together. If you want a co-op game that feels endless without feeling boring, Enshrouded absolutely deserves a spot on this video.